Alright, hello and welcome everyone. This is 5-Star General, and I'm going to be the only one here today, actually. Unfortunately, Lokgar is a little sick at the moment, so he's not going to be able to partake in this. Number one, I want to apologize about yesterday. I had a little bit of a issue on my side of things as far as having access to the computer and specific portions within the computer that are connected to certain tubes and whatnot at a certain critical period of time. So unfortunately, was not able to get on to do the cast or to contact anyone to really tell them that I would not be able to be on. So we have kind of solved the latter part of that problem. Phones are a very good backup plan, by the way. I highly recommend using them. Phone number is a good thing to give out to anyone that you're doing anything kind of date/time critical with. Anyway, with that said, so Lokgar has come down with a little bit of a sickness, some rather nasty stuff I hear, so hopefully he gets better. Good luck, Lokgar. I really do hope you get better. In the meantime, I'll do twice the talking for the both of us. Got really prepared for today's cast until Steam went down about 30 minutes ago, so didn't quite get to go through all the replays that I wanted to. But you know, whatever. I guess what can you do? We'll kind of go through them a little bit together. But to start out with, we are going to go through. I guess you could call this day 3 of the round robin tournament. Going to kind of make maybe a bit of an executive decision at this point and say that we are probably not going to go ahead and finish that. But, you know, and I will see. If we can kind of make it happen with other stuff going on, we will. I'm going to say it's probably not the biggest priorities. This is, you know, kind of what happened with that are the kinds of things that we want to prevent in competitive Dawn of War 2 so that we can have competitive Dawn of War 2. That's why some of the measures for the game replays open season are in place. Speaking of that, registration ends tomorrow at noon Eastern Standard Time, which really means it could be today for some of you already. So make sure if you want to get signed up for that, go over to gamereplays.org/Dawn of War 2. Once you get there, there's a big, like, on the nav bar, there's like tournament stuff. There's all sorts of stuff there that will get you to the registration thread and everything, get you all the information you need to know for Game Replays Open Season 1, Tournament A. So you can go ahead and get signed up for that if you want to. You don't have to be super pro to go ahead and sign up for it. I believe there are about 90 slots filled maybe, and 128 slots open, so still quite a few slots are available. If you want to just give a tournament a try, I know definitely after the tournament on the dailies, we'll be accepting replays from anyone who partook in the tournament. We'll go ahead and review them for you and help you out with what you did, did right, did wrong, what you can improve on, especially because you're going to get pretty good competition in the tournament too. So, great way to evaluate your skill, great way to grow as a player. Highly recommend it. But you know, so definitely consider that. And yeah, the casts are also pretty well set up, so I'll talk a little bit more about that later. Let's get into this right now. This is Steve Budd as the Farseer up here in the top corner of what map other than Greentooth Gorge? Okay, could be Sewell Frontier, but you know, it's probably going to be one of those two. Now at the bottom, we have Texaneous, aka Tex, as the Force Commander, Space Marine Force Commander. So, he had said that he wasn't going to go Force Commander again after getting a little beat down by Edge's RA, Ravener Alpha, I should say. But in fact, we do see here that he has indeed gone Force Commander. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you can probably notice by now this is a replay. We really tried to get the players to go ahead and just get us these games so we could cast you guys some good games. I'd wanted to get all 3 of the remaining games out of the way, but I got this one. Some time conflicts apparently with Kelsey, causing some issues, so Kelsey 4 I should say. But anyway, so with all that going on, I was able to get this one replay for you guys. I think actually I believe Steve Budd has played all of his games, so even if we don't go ahead and finish the tournament, I want to give a huge thank you to Steve Budd for going ahead and playing all of his games. That would I believe, make him unique in this tournament at the moment. So, with that said, let's go ahead and get this rolling. So as we're going to go up top in here, see here, basically, when I was paused, you saw it was, she still had 100 energy, the Farseer here. She's already down to 60 and regenerating from there. C-Bud had her fleet of foot immediately over to this power node. Now, remember, basically, with the hero as a Farseer here, when you have that fleet of foot option, basically, you've got the option to go to whatever kind of point you want to, so that he decided to fleet of foot to the natural power node is probably indicating to us that this is going to be important to him. Meanwhile, though, we see that Tex, though, is grabbing requisition points. In fact, 2 requisition points. Now, capping this to the scout squad is kind of smart because they are 6.5 speed. They're much faster than his force commander. He's actually going to be able to take the scout squad now, get pretty quickly over here. So he's going to be able to cap these pretty quickly. And then also, I'd say this is a little bit more of an exposed point here for his force commander to be capturing. And so we're going to see that having his force commander capture this point by that cap order, right? Because he starts here, then takes a nice little path up to here. So if anything comes down and attacks him, he's not necessarily going to be forced off immediately. So very nice cap order by Tex there. He gets his job done. And then we see that these attack marines are going to go ahead, they capture this. And remember, attack marines capture pretty quickly. And they actually get a favorable matchup on the left side of the map over here. They're going to be facing this Guardian squad. And straight up vanilla Guardians against tactical Space Marines is not a good battle for the Guardians. So we did see that Steve Bud was going to be a little bit aggressive pushing down here. But these attack marines go ahead capping this. Probably did not expect attack marines, probably expected scouts or the force commander or something else. You know, some kind of starting unit, right? Because attack marines aren't a starting unit. But nonetheless, because of that cap order. Ooh, and already here we've got 3 out of 5 Guardian models going down, but we have Banshees coming to support. No, they're going to back off. In the middle here we got a little bit of battle between the heroes. And oh, we have Armor of Fortune coming out already for the Farseer. So some big investments early. That's probably why we saw the emphasis on this power. We already saw the node here. We saw node and generator here. So Tex is actually going to scout this. He's going to see this coming. We see Tex is already going for a scout sergeant, and a second tac squad is coming out. So he's going to go 2 tacs with this. Now we see his Farseer here is going to try and capture the middle. He's got Banshees on him, though. Maybe in a little bit of trouble. Has not popped Battlecry. Okay, Battlecry has gone down. We can see that by the little yellow buff here on these scouts. Are they going to try and spike the Banshees? Yes, they're going to try and spike the Banshees. The spike it hits. Oh, wow. It takes out 3 of the Banshee models, and we've got tactical Space Marines coming up here to back them up. And they're going to get forced off. Wow, excellent job there by Tex, baiting these Banshees into that grenade, losing no scouts in the process, actually losing absolutely nothing. And now he's seen 3 out of 5 models on 2 of Steve Bud's squads now have gone down at different points in the game. So Tex is definitely ahead economically on the requisition front, and we are seeing map control-wise he's doing really, really well right now. But we do see at the same time, though, that Steve Bud has managed to get his generators down. He's managed to get his power in line. He's definitely going for some of that. Ooh, and this Force Commander is going to do a bit of a power move here. He's got a nice pool of health. Not that much to be able to hold off these Aspect Banshees. So he will not go ahead and be able to decapture that requisition node there. But we did see he was interested in doing it. So Tex definitely looking at taking away the requisition income here from Steve Bud. Let's go ahead and check what the income is like right now. We see Steve Bud only at 294 requisition income. We see Tex at about 350. Despite paying 12 population worth of upkeep. These tacs are going to have to get out of here, but these Guardians do not have battle equipment. They are not upgrading battle equipment either. They're going to lose 2 models to these shotgun scouts, and they have no way to nade the Tactical Space Marines armored troop. Now these Tactical Space Marines up here are just kind of bashing away on this node. They are not upgrading Flamers, which I wouldn't say it's not unusual or anything. Oh, by the way, this Force Commander is going to go ahead and capture that natural requisition node. It's already decaptured, and he's going to fully capture. So at this point, we look at C-Bud's income. It's down to the base 264 income. Now it's actually down to 248 income, as we see that the Shuriken Cannon platform has pushed him over the 30 minimum population, or 30 population threshold for not paying upkeep. These Banshees coming at a very nice angle against these Tactical Space Marines. Tex is going to have to be really careful about how he maneuvers his tacs to get out of here, but he sees the garrison. He knows he's got the garrison. The Banshees, no, they tried to fleet a foot up to the Tactical Space Marines, but could not get there in time to force them away from the garrison. They do not want to take unnecessary fire from the tacs while in the garrison. They don't want to have to retreat, so they do back off We do see in the right side here that these scouts did go ahead and use that garrison. They are going to look for a way to retreat at this point, though, with the Guardians coming out. I'm not too experienced with that, but I do believe the Guardians would outrange them all in the garrison. These Tacs actually here, though, in a bit of a bad spot. They're going to have to go back to the garrison. They're kind of being held in here by this shuriken cannon platform. Now, you say, why are they going back to the garrison here? Actually, they're standing just outside. Nice little micro trick there by, not microing very much at the moment, but just kind of relying on micro later, I guess I should say, to go ahead and just sit there. So see, nice usage of that there, because this way he has the mobility to kind of go in, go out, do whatever he wants there. We're seeing Tacs going up here and just standing between the garrison and the victory point. This is good. We see, again, that squad is kind of idle. We've got some stuff going down the mid. We've got the Force Commander taking more models off Guardians. Now, Seabud is going tier 2 ahead of Tex here. Oh, these Tactical Space Marines are going to have to watch to not lose any models here. This could be a bit of an issue for them. They are retreating. They're retreating as best they possibly can here, and they are going to go ahead and outstrip the Banshees there. Now, the reason why they're two reasons why the Tactical Space Marines actually kind of seem to like accelerate away from the Banshees there, very kind of slowly. The number one reason was because obviously the Banshees were fleet of footing and fleet of foot wore off, but also retreat takes a little bit to build up speed. So when you start retreating, you kind of go at like a very slow speed, and then by the time you're well into retreat, you go at a much faster speed. So in the meantime here, we do see Texaneous not too far behind going to tier 2, so definitely no threat of an early vehicle that Tex can't counter. So certainly he's easily within where he needs to be as far as teching. And then actually we see that we have Sergeant already queued up, both Sergeants there, so and the Scout Squad is already fully upgraded, so there's nowhere to go there. No upgrades on the Force Commander so far, which is kind of interesting. Meanwhile, we have these Scouts going in the middle here. They're going to go ahead and try and do some damage on the Farseer here, but they're going to be forced off by these Guardians. Meanwhile, these Tacs are in a little bit of trouble. Force Commander trying to help them out, but now the Banshees, they actually are going to keep going after the Tacs here, but the Force Commander goes ahead and pops Battle Cry. He's able to force them off a little bit. And actually, the Banshees won't stick around for that. Retreating a little slow here. Okay, now they're going to pick up pace. They do lose a model in that encounter. Again, Tex, I don't think he's lost a model in the entire game. But we do have Wraith Guard coming out. And Steve-Butt, I think, believes that the Wraith Guard will be able to go ahead and break this Tac force. They are pretty good against Tac straight up. Because they can obviously just kind of range versus range. You just sit back and... when they hit, they do a lot of damage, and they can suppress Tacs. So they are effective for that, but we are seeing a Librarian come down. That's going to give Tex some increased mobility if he goes ahead and gets the rather ubiquitous Tome of Time. Very nice shotgun blast, explosive shot there, I mean. You see this Farseer kind of going after... Oh, and nice use of cover on top of that. So we see the Tacs on the left side there. She really wanted to go after the Scouts just because they're much more vulnerable targets. We see these Tacs, again, have been very tough to take a model off of all game. And now we're going to see a nice little bit of flanking positioning here. The Shuriken's going to have to set up in such a way that the Scouts can't get at it, primarily, because if the Scouts get anywhere near it, they're going to just toss a grenade on it. But these Tacs are going to set up to the right side and try to... no, okay, so Tex just going to use this to go do some other stuff, I guess. These Scouts are running a little far away. I don't really know where they're going at this point, but... meanwhile, we see full upgrades in this Guardian squad, so it's got battle equipment now and the Warlock. Had battle equipment a little earlier. Again, we've got a webway gate here. These are the Farseer webway gates. So the Farseer webway gates, what makes them special compared to other webway gates. Well, actually, let's just talk really quickly about webway gates in general. Webway gates are kind of like tunnels. They allow Eldar to get in one gate and come out any other gate. So pretty straightforward in how they work. But Farseer webway gates are special. They have an ability, activatable ability, and on some... Oh, let's watch these Wraith Guard really quickly here, though. And these Tacs are really taking some big damage. You do see they're taking down quite a bit. Tex is not moving them out here. Really low, lose 2 models already. He's still not moving this Tac squad. He's got to get it out of here. He doesn't get it out. He loses an entire Tactical Space Marine squad. And we see a ... from Tex there. And meanwhile, everything else he's got on the left side, or in the middle, I should say, is being held down here by the Shuriken Cannon platform. Meanwhile, we do see he's gotten Power Fist and the Armor of Alacrity on his Force Commander here to go ahead and help out with speed and among other things. Well, the Power Fist just kind of general damage. But anyway, so if you do see the effect of these gates here, it conceals infantry on activation. Also gives a nice little speed boost. This force commander is being surrounded by banshees. He's going to go ahead. It seems like he is popping battle. No, I'm not quite sure. No, I don't think he's popped battle cry after all, actually. Okay, now there goes battle cry. Librarian, you got to run away. Got to be careful with these Wraith Guard here. Okay, he's going to go ahead and smite and get out of here. These banshees are at 5 out of 6 miles, so they haven't lost much yet. Oh, they're going to lose another model there. Meanwhile, we have a Falcon coming out. But Assault Space Marines are also out. And really here, this is where Tex would absolutely love to have... Ooh, another Banshee model goes down, by the way. Anyway, this is where Tex would absolutely love to have that. And also, at some point, the Scouts lost their Sergeant. I'm going to get our own to this finally, though. This is kind of the situation with this Falcon coming out right now, that I believe that Tex would really love to have that Tactical Space Marine squad that he lost earlier back. He actually hasn't upgraded any weapons on them. I know that missile launchers aren't the favorite thing of a lot of Space Marine players, but just one missile launcher on one of these two squads would help go in tandem with those Meltas, really help deal with that. Now these attacks are actually going to move up, try to engage these Wraith Lords in melee, and actually, interestingly, this Warlock is so from... Oh, the ASM's coming from up top here. Go ahead and jump on the Shuriken Cannon platform. They've got to watch out, the Banshees are coming in! They've got to get out of there. Those Banshees will just tear them to shreds if given the opportunity. And we do see actually the Assault Space Marines will indeed jump out and jump on top of the Guardians. A very nice move by Tex, because if he doesn't jump on top of those Guardians, he's going to have to retreat right past those Guardians. And in retreating right past those Guardians, they've got grenades. They can grenade spike the retreat path, but because he jumped on them, he disrupted them and knocked them back, and they were unable to do that. But now we see that Tex's main... This is actually, even though this is his natural power farm over here, this is his main power farm. It is in danger of being hit here by these Wraith Guards, and we see that rather directly this Falcon is now going ahead and pushing the natural power farm and allowing the Wraith Guard to just kind of sit here and bash well away at this while the Shuriken covers them. By basically having the Shuriken cover the Wraith Guard there, it forces the Assault Space Marines to have to jump on top of the Shuriken rather than the Wraith Guard. Meantime, though, we do see that Tex is doing his best to be a little somewhat nonplussed here. He's going ahead and capturing this victory point over here. And, taking back some of your match control. Oh, we have a nice use of Veil of Time here, and I assume Alacrity is being used here as well. Now, these Assault Space Marines also coming in. They're upgrading Melta. The Melta is not upgraded yet. This is a little interesting. Tex, obviously, he's got a lot of resources at the moment. But at the same time, he somehow does not have Melta upgraded. But this Falcon is going to go down. That Force Commander with Alacrity and with the Veil of Time just a little too speedy, but the Librarian is in trouble, and he's not retreating. He does not retreat the Librarian. The Librarian goes down. Tex has had a couple of unit losses today here that just are really surprising, just kind of due to lack of attention or something. I'm not quite sure. Possibly a retreat bug on that, but I really don't know. It could have been a little bit of chain knockback. It could have been a little bit of a few things, but certainly it did not look good from this end. And this may not look too good either. There should be either a grenade spike or something coming in here. We're going to see it is eventually going to come back. I know they're going to go and tie up melee. Something should be happening there. The amount of time they were standing there from range just kind of plinking away was not good, because if those Wraith Guard had turned around just a little bit sooner and attacked, that could have been quite deadly. We see that Tex has gone tier 3. He's very low on power now, so he's trying to rectify that. But Banshees are kind of dealing with that. The Assault Space Marines actually jumping into combat with these Banshees. They are... they do have the captain on them, so they are going to kind of try and stand up here. But unless they can get a good merciless strike down, this could go pretty poorly for them. We're going to see actually they're going to back out of that conflict altogether and just go after the Wraith Guard, force them off. In the meantime, we saw the Tactical Space Marines popped, and I Shall Know No Fear, which is an ability that basically allows them to do a fair bit of knockback, I believe, just from the squad leader, but nonetheless allows them to break suppression and do quite a bit of knockback, so quite a nice ability if you're facing off against some melee, or if you're going to try and deal with those Wraith Guards in a certain way. So it could have been for either of those two things. Unfortunately, we're kind of a little more caught up in the Banshees and Assault Space Marines to really get to see what it did there. But nonetheless, very useful ability, but it has to be charged up by taking damage, so it's not the most reliable abilities. We're seeing Texas doing all he can here to prevent Steve from capturing this power node. Now, in the meantime, this Farseer, very low on health, 48, 30, 25, 20, down to 20, below 20 health, up to above 20 health again. we are seeing the 0.5 energy regenerate, my bad, 0.5 health regeneration bonus from Armor of Fortune, just being a huge benefit there for the Farseer, being able to get out of there alive. Now we also see here, interesting move from Steve Bud. He actually has a fair amount of power, but he's in tier 3 right now. And, so we're seeing that Tex apparently has no sound, and that is what he is claiming to be the issue as far as the multitasking goes here. But anyway, the interesting thing we're seeing here is that a Howling Banshee is coming out for Steve Bud, and he is tier 3, so this obviously was not his original plan to get this Howling Banshee squad. Otherwise, I don't believe he would have gone tier 3. I guess he could have, but it certainly stands to reason he could have gotten that squad out a lot sooner by not going to tier 3 and just focusing on getting that squad earlier. So in the meantime, though, we do see that Texaneous here, he's got almost no red, so you know what that means? It means Assault Terminators. So this could have something to do with why we are seeing the Banshees come out here from Steve Bud. There could be a couple of other reasons. Now this Assault Terminator we're calling here is a little interesting, possibly a little dangerous here. They do not have their Lightning Claws yet, and he does not have the resources for Lightning Claws yet. He is rather low on power, and with these double Banshee squads and no Librarian, he could really get in a bad position like the one he's in right now. But we are seeing that his range support... Oh, he's actually being incredibly aggressive with them here. But the Wraith Guard here go ahead and lose their guide, which is to say their Warlock guide, Spirit Seer, something along those lines. Either way, when they lose their Warlock, who kind of gives them a little bit of a speed bonus, when they lose that, they become stunned. And so we saw that the ranged firepower from Tex managed to kill off that unit, or that model, causing the stun effect, and that just synergized absolutely perfectly with this very aggressive push with these Assault Terminators here. And so we see he was able to force off Steve Bud there. Steve Bud going ahead and using his, actually two squads here, his Guardians and this Farseer, who's going to go ahead and use Levitation Field and hold up these Assault Space Marines. Not the best idea to grenade spike there. I'm not really sure what Steve Bud was thinking. I'm not sure. I would assume well, I've seen him play Farseer a lot, so I'm guessing that he knows how Levitation Field works and the knockback works from it, but I'm not sure there. It was a little odd. I would have figured he would have known what would have happened there. Now these Assault Space Marines here, I'm not sure this is really where they want to be engaged, and they're going to take a key model loss here. If I'm not mistaken, that was the Sergeant. So that is going to be a little bit of a pain for Tex to replace here, because I'm assuming he probably wants to get Lightning Claws on these Assault Terminators, unless he's afraid that Steve Bud is going to pull out a vehicle of some kind at this point, like a Falcon maybe. But then again, though, I wouldn't really focus having Assault Terminators as my primary AV, and he definitely demonstrated that the Force Commander is pretty good AV, anti-vehicle there as well. So we are seeing that these Assault Terminators are doing quite a number, though, on these Wraith Guard, if they're able to catch them alone as they have here. And another Librarian has come out, so... And actually we've seen that Texaneous has prioritized the Librarian over the Lightning Claws, so those don't seem to be the biggest priority for him, but it is something to continue watching. Meanwhile, we are seeing a Falcon come out. But he's got to watch out again here. Here come these Banshees. Are we going to see Gate of Infinity? Are we going to see these Assault Terminators even try to get out? What is going to happen here? Not really sure. We do have a Shuriken and a building that is causing some issues down here for Texaneous. These Assault Space Marines are still out. I guess losing the Sergeant there, a little bit of an economic pain, but not the biggest pain in the world, as he is able to keep the squad in there a little bit longer. Levitation Field picks up the Assault Terminators, tosses them all over the place. They're getting ganged up on by the Banshees, but they do manage to teleport away. Oh, but they lose a model in the teleportation process. I'm not sure exactly how that happened. That looked a little weird. It kind of managed to finish teleporting, then died. We are seeing Lightning Claws finally coming out, though. And this is a straight-up victory point battle here for Steve Bud. He is doing his best to stay in the game, and hopefully this Falcon will be able to help him make a bit of a push. This Librarian, very bad position, trying to... Whoa, no, it's not. He used the quickening, but he did not use to get out immediately. That could cost him the Librarian, or it could cost him some key Assault Terminator models here. In fact, it could cost him both. There is no outlet for these Assault Terminators They are going to have to fight to the death, and in fact, it seems like that is what they will do. Oh my, they're very, very low at this point. So are the Banshees, but the Banshees are much easier to replace than these Assault Terminators. Oh, did he get... Well, the squad that was retreating, I do believe, yes, that was wiped. The other squad is in the Falcon, and they're coming back out. The Falcon has its shield. It just finished a shield upgrade. That's going to be one very durable Falcon. We see that the Force Commander is doing his best to deal with these Banshees, but these Shotgun Scouts are going to be able to help out. Levitation Field, though, will deal with the Force Commander temporarily, but he manages to retreat before it affects him. These Shotgun Scouts are still just going to be able to do enough to provide some disruption here. And in fact, the Assault Space Marine is going to try and provide the rest of it here on this Wraith Guard squad that was capturing. I don't know that Steve Budd could afford to retreat that. He cannot afford to retreat that with only 22 victory points left. 20 victory points left. These Assault Space Marines are forced off, but he's got to cap this victory point up here immediately. His Farseer is capturing. And these scouts are not... Oh, are they going to... He's going to try and time it. No, the timing is a little off here. But the full cap is not going to go down in time anyway. The full cap is not going to go down. And so, Steve Budd will lose this game here. 2 victory points. Despite... Actually, well, did I somehow possibly miss that these Assault Terminators actually did get out? It seems like they may... Oh, my bad. Well, yeah, they did. My apologies. No surprise that the Assault Terminators got out. They got out because the Banshees were not able to finish them off. So they actually fighting to the death worked out pretty well for them there. So that was a little... It didn't work out very well for the Librarian, but it did work out quite well for the Assault Terminators. So Texaneous proving his Force Commander apparently in the midst of not having any sound to play the game with. So certainly not having sound makes multitasking a lot harder. Could explain some of the squad losses we saw that didn't seem to make any sense, particularly seeing as Wraith Guard aren't exactly the quietest of units, but obviously that wouldn't much matter if you didn't have sound. So, but anyway, so that actually was a much better game than I expected, because when Texaneous gave me the replay, he said it wasn't a good game. So, I mean, I guess with the kind of no sound losses and stuff, I can see what the issue may have been, what his issue with the game may have been, despite the outcome. But, anyway, it's a good game to both players. It was, again, interesting to see Texaneous' always interesting really to see Texaneous' Force Commander. And always a pleasure to see Steve Budd play, and I want to thank Steve Budd for participating in the tournament, the mini-tournament, and Texaneous as well. And again, I really want to thank Steve Budd for completing all of his games. We will see about getting the other games completed, but I will make no promises on that front. It was supposed to be a one-week event to kind of hold and have a little bit of fun with while Lockgar was gone. But it's stretching out to be a little bit longer than that. Luckily, at least this turned out to be a very nice replay regardless. So that was also the other point of the event too. So, you know, we'll see, again, like I said. But let's go ahead back out of this, and let's go on to our next replay. Yeah, the Texas red, but there's a bug kind of with the, what do you call it, what stuff shows up as. I don't know, if you've watched replays or observed matches, just occasionally it will swap the colors and stuff for no reason whatsoever, really. Don't know why it does it, just does. And yeah, it was doing that this time. My apologies. I'll try to point it out if I see it next time, so that you guys know what's going on with that. My bad with that. So anyway, we do see that we can go ahead and look through the post-game stats a little bit here. We saw that Texaneous' Force Commander probably a little more active in the combat there, getting up to level 4. Definitely helped that he got a vehicle kill on that one Falcon. Looking at units killed and units lost, kind of what we expect here. It looks like a lot more drastic than it actually is, because always Space Marines are, unless you're up against, my bad, unless you have like triple scout builds and stuff, typically you're going to see Space Marines have like very few units lost, and against any race that is not Space Marines or Chaos Space Marines, even Chaos Space Marines, that will typically have a lot of losses just because of heretics alone. But anytime that you're going up against Space Marines, you can be doing really well and have a terrible kill-death ratio for your units. But interestingly, actually, this is kind of interesting here. If we look at the amount of units reinforced, Texaneous only reinforced one model the entire game. So that kind of, I guess, goes back to... that's not completely fair, because we did see he replaced the Sergeant on the Assault Space Marines, and I believe that just counts as like another unit, another unit purchase or upgrade purchase or whatever, as opposed to an actual reinforcement, even though technically it kind of is a reinforcement. But nonetheless, though, even with technicalities like that, and even for Space Marines, that's really good and kind of really interesting, because it says two things. Number one, okay, that one tac squad was just completely lost outright, right? So that's not a positive in this figure here. But the kind of positive is that either Tex was not losing models in general, or the models that he was losing were ones that he knew correctly that he could do without. And basically, when you're not reinforcing models, you're not dealing with that kind of attrition, you can afford better and more stuff, basically. I guess you saw that's why he was able to kind of stay with Steve Budd constantly in the tech race, despite constantly spending more requisition. Part of that went into the beginning map control that he had. I mean, saw that he had a big requisition build up for a large portion of the game, and that kind of allowed him to get those Assault Space Marines in Tier 2 when he needed them. But so definitely that's an interesting stat there to kind of look at it, that sometimes kind of glanced over a bit, especially because it seems like units reinforced actually gives you points, I believe, which is kind of weird. But anyway, so check out resources really quickly. Both very even on power, in the long run of things, that is. Although we do see that Texaneous built more power, and in this game that basically means that his power got bashed down a lot more. And as we see, he lost like 8 power, so having to have built 13 was not something Texaneous had planned to do. Requisition over the long term actually evened out a bit. Part of that was probably because of upkeep and stuff. So the fact that Tex still came out ahead largely points to his superior map control throughout a very large portion of the game, particularly in the beginning of the game. And then points, this is usually kind of what I look at the least of anything. And yeah, because it doesn't tell me a ton. So, I guess in some games it could be useful, but in this particular one, as you can see, it doesn't really give us any kind of anything big, other than, good points captured to points lost ratio for Tex, but then Steve Buds was still positive too. So let's go on ahead, and now we're just going to go ahead and look at replays. Unfortunately, like I mentioned, probably not going to be the round robin tournament is kind of mired down a little bit. We have 2 more matches that would need to be played for it before even considering the finals, and Calcifor is having a little bit of issues scheduling those. So with that said, we're maybe not doing that, or maybe not finishing that up. Unfortunately, it may just end up being like, well, we intended to have a little mini tournament thing, but ultimately it was just a bunch of show matches put together in a certain format. So at a bare minimum, hopefully you guys enjoyed the show matches that we put on, and that the players put on did mostly a pretty good job with. So I guess if we had to pick a winner of the thing, at the moment it would be Edja, but I do believe that Texaneous wishes he could have that game against Edja back. Anyway, though, so we are going to go ahead and just go through replays now. Well, I mean, we went through a replay. We're going to go through replays, I guess you could say. So more typical replay analysis kind of stuff. Are probably going to have some stuff coming up with myself and Locker. When Locker gets a little bit better, where we'll be looking at attrition. So we got some stuff lined up for that, but I'm gonna shy away from that for today because I am just one caster, and okay, that wouldn't hurt things very much, but you know, I prefer that you know, Lockar was definitely the one that was pushing that and did a lot of work on that, so we'll go ahead and wait for him. In the meantime, let's go ahead and actually, I have not watched this replay yet, but it's Rosen versus Lindonin. I don't believe that we have showcased Lindonin yet, and we have not showcased Rosen since the game that he played against Edja in the beta. Retribution beta, that is. Not Vanilla Dawn of War 2 beta. Not all the way back in, I believe, is it 2008? Or sometime around that. Not that long ago. That would be 2009, I believe, yeah. So, okay. Anyway, though, the more recent beta, because the daily has only been around for so long. So anyway, both very good players. We haven't been able to give them kind of due credit lately, so they have not been able to partake in our show matches, even though I definitely had extended an invitation to Rosen. I'm trying to think, may have invited Lindonin into something as well. If not, he's certainly high up there on the list. Either way, though, two very good players. Again, unfortunately, because the Steam server's going down earlier today, I was not able to kind of look over this before approving it for the cast, so hopefully it's good. But there's no reason to believe it won't be, so let's go ahead and load it up and get ready for some, hopefully some pretty awesome action. This is Leviathan Hive. This is actually where we saw Rosen play Edja earlier, so when I say earlier, I mean our end of beta cast, I guess you want to say. So Rosen is spawning as the Apothecary, Space Marine Apothecary, on the left side. And on the top right side, we have Lindonin spawning in as the Farseer. Eldar Farseer, that is. Again, Fleet of Footing out here. Where's she going to use the Fleet of Foot to get to? Looks good. Like it's going to be this power node. So power, deemed important here, but not so important that the starting Guardian squad won't go and capture that natural requisition. Power, important here for Rosen, though, as he is going to go ahead and capture these two power nodes here. With his starting squads, that is. So the Tactical Space Marines will come out next. Remember, they do have the increased capping rate, so this isn't, I wouldn't ever say bad, but, you know, the amount of time, right, that's passing is actually not as great as it seems, because this is going to go ahead and cap faster, which means, even though it took him a little bit longer to get out, and, you know, if the Apothecary had just gone there, right, and captured that, it starts equaling up, but it's still not quite as fast as if he had prioritized it. And with a little bit in the chat there about RUW, that is Rosen's clan. As I recall, it is a Russian clan. As I recall, Rosen is Russian. I really hope. Should do a little more research on that to double check. I should probably also point out that the GROS... but before I do that, the Tactical Space Marines here engaging in melee with Banshees. Ooh, but he's a little confident. Oh, he's confident in this because of the Apothecary going in there with the heal. Gotta keep remembering that Tactical Space Marines are absolute beasts when complemented by an Apothecary. These Banshees are actually losing 3 models in this battle with these Tactical Space Marines. And the Tactical Space Marines lose 1 model, and that costs about 83 requisition, I believe. But 3 Banshees is going to go ahead and take Lindonin 120 requisition or a place. So that trade easily worthwhile for Rosen. He takes it without issue. And it seems like he'll take that one any day. So actually, it looks like kind of almost like text without his sound there for a second, but then nope. Just, you know, kind of turning around going, nah, I've got this, man. But you see, though, that the Guardians are able to pick off a scout model. Lindonin's Farseer does get the decapture off on this requisition point, then Fleet of Foot's away to try and stay in the battle. Now, we don't see Armor of Fortune coming down, so she's not going to be able to get that big energy, my bad, I don't know why I keep saying energy, but it is a health regeneration boost. But she does she's able to keep up here and continue to cap things in the back here. And in the meantime, we are seeing the Shuriken put to good use. It's going to force that Apothecary off. But now these scouts put this Farseer in a dangerous position, but the Banshees are able to cover her escape. So, I'm not sure if the Banshees were just kind of like following the scouts around the whole time, or what, but the way it turned out, those Banshees were in a great position to cover that escape, so there you have it. But ooh, the scouts actually do manage to pick off a model on those Banshees while they are capturing, so very nice there. But on the other side, though, oh, no, these are still the, I don't believe those have been reinforced yet, the 2 out of 3 scout squads, so we have Assault Space Marines coming out from Rosen, so this is a fairly heavy tier 1. We are seeing Mastercrafted Bolter come out as well. But on the other side of things, these dual Shurikens have been apparently holding Lindonen's economy down pretty heftily as well. Although really, I think if we look at it, the issue is less the Shurikens and such, the tier 1.5 units, and actually more the Banshee losses and whatnot that he has been forced to replace. Now this Shuriken's getting forced up, but these Aspect Banshees are going right up against these Assault Space Marines, but the Assault Space Marines are perfectly okay with that. The Banshees are actually getting out of there because there's an Apothecary here with the Mastercrafted Bolter, which has full auto, which could have been a bit of an issue for them. Ooh, these Guardians are in a big heap of trouble here, and they go completely down. The Assault Space Marines jumping in there, providing lots of knockback, and the Tactical Space Marines finishing them off in melee, along with, you know, some help with from the Assault Space Marines. But the knockback there was really what did it. So in the meantime, we do see that this Farseer is going to get Armor of Fortune, and she is kind of just running all over the map. So really quickly here, while we have a second, because some gem bashing is going on, which is completely exciting and stuff, but you know, we see it every day, and it doesn't. It takes a little more than a second here without flamers. But anyway, there actually will be a Russian stream of the GROS. I believe it is esnn.tv. You can find the full details on that actually on gamereplays.org/DonOwar2. So, but anyway, if you need a Russian stream, I'm not quite sure why you're listening to me right now, but maybe your English is pretty good, maybe you prefer Russian, so that will be there for you. Anyway, we see the Shuriken is setting up a little, well, actually very defensively here to go ahead and cover this, but it's not actually quite covering this. We're seeing that, again, very defensive setup here, trying to keep these most Shurikens covered at all times. These Banshees getting a huge boost out of this cloaking effect here from the Webway Gate. Again, the special Farseer gates, able to get quite far with that. Not all the way, though. They are going to try and come in on these scouts, so these scouts are going to try and finish the capture before getting out. Yep. They will sacrifice a model to go ahead and do that. Meanwhile, though, in the bottom here, this Farseer has been just absolutely incredibly annoying here for Rosen. I believe, actually, in the comments for this replay, he pointed out how kind of unhappy he was with Space Marine map control against Eldar, and just kind of how frustrating it is to kind of deal with that at times. But certainly we are seeing that this is just kind of good use by Lindonin of the Farseer to do that, but also Lindonin has been sacrificing the Farseer's usage in some straight up combat in order to do that. So, but we are seeing though that these Tactical Space Marines can't quite face her straight up, but together with these scouts, they won't have much of an issue. They can kind of kite together and force her to choose, and then even use the base turrets to get in on the action here. And actually, he's going to have to watch out with this Farseer, because we are seeing the Apothecary come in from the right side here. Does again have the full auto ability. Very, very dangerous. If he can get it off, that could be a dead Farseer. Is he going to go ahead and pop full auto? He does pop full auto. This Farseer is trying to retreat. She may be able to retreat. Yes, she is going to retreat, but that full auto definitely ensured that a retreat was imminent. Up until that point, that Farseer was doing her absolute best to stay alive, run around, use Spirit Stones, use Armor of Fortune, do whatever to just kind of stay on the field. Interesting about Spirit Stones is actually that they will, I think it takes 80 energy to use them, but then they will like give you back 60 energy. So in the middle of a battle, it can really cut into your energy to kind of do that kind of heal with them, but to keep something on the field, not bad at all. So again, good usage of gates here to go ahead and cloak the Shuriken platform, and these Banshees That the Shuriken hasn't decloaked, though, to kind of deal with these Assault Space Marines. And actually, the other Shuriken is in real danger, the Assault Space Marines, but the Tactical Space Marines and the Apothecary now being meleeed by the Banshees. Oh, and that Shuriken does go down! That offensive jump is successful. And in fact, now these Assault Space Marines at will can kind of flank behind the Shuriken, but the Apothecary goes down. But this may not be the biggest of issues. We see that Rosen has plenty enough for Lariman's Blessing, should he choose to use it. But his Tactical Space Marines now are taking quite a bit of a beating, and without the healing aura to kind of help them out there, they're in not the greatest of spots. So in the meantime, these Assault Space Marines do force off the Shuriken there. And are they going to go ahead and try and focus on that webway gate? Yes, they are. They're probably going to sacrifice. No. Well, I'm not sure at this point. They may or may not be able to do it. It looks like they're going to keep trying to do it here. Now, they will back off. But both players are now in Tier 2. And Rosen is upgrading the Sergeant on here. And we did see, actually, Lariman's Blessing was indeed used. So the Apothecary is straight back up from where he was. We see a fresh heal go down from the Apothecary on these Assault Space Marines, and Lindonin is in a very tough spot here. He's able to hold his generator farm here so far, which is what's keeping him in the game, but he is completely out of map control at this point. He's trying to gain some back with these Banshees, but he's starting to lose generators again now, and he's down to only 2 units outside of his Farseer, although that Farseer is seeming to be pretty effective here, running kind of cloaked at this whole force here, and trying to engage this Apothecary, who is actually now in the process of meleeing. Then he tried to go ahead and get that Shuriken set up. Wasn't quite able to do it in any useful capacity, so the Shuriken is going to have to retreat out. This Farseer is actually was getting full auto to no effect until ran a little too far forward and then got blasted by it. And now going ahead and meleeing up on this Apothecary. The Apothecary actually dodges the special attack there from the Farseer. And in the meantime, we are going to see that despite this Warp Spider fire, the Assault Space Marines do take down the webway gate. These Banshees, though, have been in the back the whole time here, just taking out generators. And finally, they should be getting forced off about now, but they may be able to get this last generator down first. This is... Oh, no, they're actually going to go ahead and use their Scream on these Scouts. Use that to ride right into the Tactical Space Marines. The Scout Squad very low, but the base starts to... This is actually could be bad, but no, they're still going to have enough to go up against the Tax here. And now they're a little bit weakened and fighting these Tactical Space Marines in melee with the Captain. I'm not quite sure they're going to be able to finish them off here. Very low. They're going to have to retreat out. They are retreating out. They do lose quite a few models there. Meantime, an Autarch came out. And obviously, I don't believe any losses on Rosen's side because of that. But that is a pretty big thing to have come out here. At the same time, that we do have a Dreadnought coming out for Rosen, looking to nip this in the bud. Action Executioner going down in the Autarch. This could be a little problematic. Lindonin is still very low on power, so while the Autarch can switch between weapons, she is going to be somewhat hard-pressed to do so with the power supply that Lindonin currently has. Now Lindonin is going ahead trying to get these victory points in order here for himself, so that he can go ahead and equalize that a bit. We are seeing the victory point system here, the display for that does seem to be cooperating today. Or I shouldn't say today, I should say at the moment. Since it is cooperating, the display up there should be correct. These Tactical Space Marines are going ahead and bastarding away on the Farseer. But now the Autarch's going to go ahead and jump on the Apothecary. But the Dreadnought is right here. Should have no problem with either of these foes. And the Farseer here has not upgraded a weapon yet. I would expect to see her spear, but this Autarch's got to be careful. Oh, she's actually going to retreat out. This may be a little late. No, she's fast enough to get out without issue. These double Scouts in the middle of a couple of Banshees here, and Assault Space Marines also in a little bit of a Banshee mess. Not quite able to get any final hits off in the Autarch because of that. And now these Assault Space Marines are backing off a bit, but they're going to go ahead and be able to push with this Dreadnought. We're actually seeing a second Warp Spider squad is going to hit the field here for Lindonin. So slowly but surely he is building a force backup for himself. And we are seeing he's going to go ahead and capture his second, or I should say maybe secondary part. No, he's actually not. He's going to go for victory points again. Perhaps seeing what this Apothecary is doing down here. And I've been maybe a little disconcerted by the Dreadnought. Not wanting to face it head-on quite yet. possibly waiting on being able to chain haywires. We are seeing that aspect is being prioritized for upgrade on that new Warp Spider squad. I actually do, my bad, that was a Kraken Bolt, so nope. And these tactical space marines are probably pretty close to being able to pop, and they should know no fear, so they should be getting a little bit of a boost in melee pretty soon. And now we do see these scouts have been upgraded with shotguns, both of them, so this is going to help them deal with these banshees, both between explosive shot and then just being able to kind of kite and do a lot of short-range damage. But at the same time, though, banshees still pretty quick here, and they are doing quite a bit of damage. The Dreadnought here is able to go ahead and take out the node. Actually, just the whole combined force of everything here. This whole power node is just getting absolutely bashed. The whole farm, I should say. But again, on the other side of things, we have these Banshees. Rosen has decided to go tier 3, but with these Warp Spiders and the Banshees here bringing down the farm, he's not really going to have very much income going into tier 3. And that could definitely prove problematic. We are seeing a Webway Gate go up just a little bit up into the left here of Rosen's power. And if this is allowed to stand, and if Lindonin can get one up somewhere else, then he is going to be able to kind of backdoor into Rosen somewhat at will. Also, this is going to give him a point to go ahead and use the invisible / speed ability. So, all very useful things. I mean, we're seeing that basically the entire back portion of the map down by Rosen's base area is just being controlled at the moment by Lindonin. By Rosen's base area is just being controlled by Lindonin. These War Spiders are going ahead and bashing this slowly but surely. We are seeing that Rosen is coming back. Partial usage of this ability made. We see that unfortunately 2 members of the Banshee squad not quite caught up in the invisibility there. They get a little far away, little long out there, and go ahead and lose the invisibility. But they're going to go ahead and capture. In the meantime, we see here, the reason why Rosen is not attacking this is, as you can kind of see from this is invisible to Rosen right now. So he's not able to, without a detector, he's not able to see those gates unless he brushes right up against them. So trying to deal with this threat is a bit of a major issue. He may not really even realize that the threat is there. Assault Space Marines are jumping right on top of these dual Warp Spiders. This is a little bit of an issue in Warp Spider positioning here, in my opinion, to have them kind of bunched up that way. Again, when you know that Assault Space Marines are out there, not quite what I wanted to see from Lindonin, since definitely the best chance of those working pretty well would be to have them a little bit spread out so that the Assault Space Marines won't be able to do so much. Apothecary able to kill one of the Banshee models there with full auto, and the Assault Space Marines trying to come in here, trying to save the Apothecary. Seems like they may be able to, but oh, watch out for these Warp Spiders jumping right in. They're going to try and bring down the Apothecary, almost down to 15 health. He'll get away, though, unless the Autarch has something to say about it, but no, she does not seem to be having anything to say about it. And that was one incredibly fast Assault Space Marines, my friend. His jump pack just went into Nitro mode to get all the way over there. And we are going to see these dual War Spiders just be a complete nuisance here. See these assault squads, and they're popping dual haywires now down on the Dreadnought. And these Assault Space Marines now are in danger of being wiped out if they don't get out of here. The Autarch chasing as well. Not to mention these Warp Spiders can still jump. Angels of Death at the last second to preserve the Assault Space Marine. Excellent move there by Rosen. Oh man, he was going to lose that squad if it were not for that. And we've seen that Assault Space Marine squad has been vital all game and allowing him to really inflict kind of just a nice bit of domination on Lindonin in various areas. Certainly having lost that would have really decreased his capability to go ahead and disrupt these dual Warp Spiders. And again, it just would have been a bad thing all around. So being able to prevent that is absolutely great for him. 83 requisition, 8 power is no small thing to reinforce, but it is certainly much less than having to go ahead and replace the entire squad, which would have cost on the order of 500 requisition and 50 power. So the Shuriken being effective here at holding this victory point. And actually we are seeing that this push from Lindonin that kind of really forced Rosen to move back towards his side has actually allowed Lindonin to hold the victory points rather well, and they actually keep this victory point decapped as well. So Lindonin has been accruing, or well, I should say really decreasing Rosen's victory points by 2 about every tick of the clock here, which has really worked in his favor. It's really worked to equalize the situation there, and that is he is completely in this game right now. Rosen is tier 3, but we can see his resources is very depleted from the battles that he's had to go through at the stage of the game. So just that continual reinforcement what I'm seeing that in the meantime that Lindonin is building up requisition. I'm not sure quite what he's building towards. He's not building power. And again here, Rosen's power is just getting bashed left and right. He does not even have enough power for Terminators right now. And of course, he also doesn't have enough requisition either. Now, this again, though, this Dreadnought is Dark Age, so he has put a notable tier 3 investment into that. But other than that, he has not really been able to exercise his tier 3 status over Lindonin very much at all. But this Farseer, in a little bit of danger, is going to retreat out. May or may not have needed to. The Shuriken seems to have been successful in preventing anything dangerous from happening to that. The Shuriken itself, though, now is in trouble. These Banshees going to ganging up on the Assault Space Marines. A Merciless Strike, though, goes down, knocks back the Banshees. But these Scout Squads, in the meantime, though, very, very low. And in fact, one goes down one model, the other goes down completely. These dual Warp Spiders absolutely doing a number on these Scouts. They're actually kind of just preventing them from having any kind of map control whatsoever. And that is really key because this Tactical Space Marines and these Assault Space Marines are just not the fastest of units. Even if the Tactical Space Marines get increased capping speed, they just cannot be everywhere at once. And the Scouts are kind of the vanguard, the prawn that you can extend beyond your main force to kind of go out there and into the wild, sort of, and just increase your map control, right? Without actually physically having to have your main force there. So again, losing any amount of those, and really, I'm not even sure that it matters that he lost it at this point, but just the pure capabilities of Warp Spiders to have continually denied that previously. But then again, though, it forces these Warp Spiders were forced before then to do that, right? To do that denial. Again, better spread here, by the way, by Lindonin on these Warp Spiders, staying away from the initial jump in there. Well, I mean, staying away from getting both hit by Assault Space Marines. And actually, Rosen here in Tier 3 going for Assault Space Marines. So this is something we've seen 2 games in a row now. A Space Marine player going ahead in a later tier, going ahead and getting Assault Space Marines then, despite, again, being in that later tier. Oh, wow. Despite the haywire there, the Dreadnought went in and got the ability off just before that expired. This Apothecary, though, will go down, and haywire, this Dreadnought is just stuck haywired here next to this Farseer, but Singing Spear, again, not really where she wants to be. These Tactical Space Marines popping, and they shall know no fear. Going to allow them to remain unsuppressed against this Shuriken weapons platform, Shuriken cannon weapons platform. This Dreadnought, though, in a bad spot against the Farseer, just going to have to eat it, go down, because the Farseer would have been able to chase him off. Those dual haywires really, really just absolutely hurt the Dreadnought way too much. But now we do have the double Assault Space Marines here. They are being fully upgraded here with Sergeant, and I assume Melta, Thunder and Lightning may not actually come after all. There may not be any necessary reason for it at the moment, but we shall see. We actually are seeing they are splitting up. And I've assumed that's not a pathing thing. I'd assume that Rosen would have taken care of that a little better if he wanted to. They are threatening the Shuriken Cannon platform team, but I do not believe they're going to be able to really threaten it too much. It is going to be able to get away from them. The Warp Spiders are going to be able to force the Assault Space Marines to take a jump back. In the meantime, the other Assault Space Marine squad is going ahead trying to deal with the Autarch, who is just kind of going around being a big annoyance with this Farseer really trying to strike back at Rosen's map control. But we do see that Rosen has retaken a little bit of dominance here. The Autarch here is going to try and hold off this squad, though, while the Farseer caps. Interestingly, we... oh, okay, there we go. The Force Shield is finally coming down on the Autarch. We had not seen that until just now, actually, which is, again, a little interesting. Lindonin has a lot, by the way, a lot of requisition, so apparently wants to go tier 3. But again, if he's got this much requisition, he wants to go tier 3, he really needs to be building generators or something at this point. And Bison Boy, yes, we went over, the first game was the Steve Bud versus Texaneous for the little round robin thing. These scouts absolutely destroyed here by the 2x warp spiders. They were trying to pick away at the Autarch, but warp spiders just absolutely deadly here so far. But these dual assault space marines are also going to be somewhat deadly here. Deadly for shurikens. That shuriken isn't getting anywhere without dying, and as we see, it clearly just dies there, cadet. We have a Wraithlord coming out there for Lindonin after building up for resources for all that time, looking like maybe going tier 3 or something. Does not, but he does finally put down some generators, so kind of finally getting around to the macro component of the game, which is nice to hear. Rosen going for another squad of Assault Space Marines. Again, if you want to talk about macro time, it's maybe a little late, but I don't really fault Rosen for that one, because I'm sure that the decision to go for more Assault Space Marines took a little bit of time to make. I'm sure it was a proper decision, so you are allowed some time for decisions. It's quite alright, by the way. Meantime here, full auto being used to knock the Farseer back and down. In the meantime, the Apothecary is going to have to get out of here. These warp spiders are threatening it, but the Apothecary does successfully scout the Wraithlord here, and in the process of doing that, we are seeing that the Assault Space Room is cancelled in favor of a Dreadnought. And actually that worked out really well, because Rosen did not really have the power for that until that point anyway. And so I think this goes back to what I said a couple of casts ago, which is basically that, you know, if you can kind of get something in the works, right, and then change over to another unit when you get the resources for that, because you decide that's the unit you actually need, but you always keep the opportunity door open, so if you so that you have something you can stick with if you don't need the other thing. That's always a good thing to do, and we saw Rosen basically did just that. I don't know if it was intentional. Again, it probably wasn't, but nonetheless, the way that it works out, a big positive for him. So we are seeing, though, that Lindonin is making another big push here with only 17 victory points, so he absolutely has to at this point. He is getting many more webway gates up at this point. Again, he's floating a fair amount of red, so barring an Eldritch Storm, which would require him going tier 3, which, again, he's a little late on here, he really should be getting more of those gates and such up just to give him more capability to go ahead and use some of the cute tactics that he had been using earlier in the game, I should say, with the stealth and the speed and all that. And also now just to make his already very highly mobile army even more mobile, and kind of to allow him to escape without having to retreat at points. So in the meantime here we see that this Wraithlord is reset, and here we go. Now he's able to make use of these gates rather constructively. The Assault Space Marines are jumping in blind now at this point. They're going to go ahead and take down the gate first, which really is not what they want to be doing here, because this Wraithlord will shred them. We do see Angels of Death go down, though, so this is going to go ahead and allow them to try and do that. The Farseer popped out of the gate in the meantime, I should say. And now this Wraithlord has free reign to maybe go whack away at this Dreadnought while it's haywired. Are these Assault Space Marines going to go ahead and get Meltas off on the Wraithlord? I would assume quite possibly so. In the meantime, we do see Lindonin is finally going tier 3 here. Will it make a difference? We're not quite sure yet. We are seeing that he's starting to make, again, more efficient use of the red. He is putting down gates constantly, but because he is going tier 3, he might want to save a little bit of red for Eldritch Storm if that's something he's interested in. I'm not sure if he's interested in it or not, though. We have seen Rosen making great use of his red, generally pretty good usage of his resources, and that, again, all that certainly has helped him throughout this game, put him in the point where he's at now, which is just barely hanging in here, actually, but still ahead in victory points, and definitely contending for more right now. These Warp Spiders getting knocked back by the double Assault Space Marines here, and again, another knockback jump there. They go ahead and take out another gate. This Dreadnought is facing off against this Wraithlord Dreadnought, a little low on health here. There are no scouts to repair that Dreadnought, so my assumption here is that Rosen will just let that fight to the death. I don't think he has much more of an option. He is doing his best here to capture this point. Here comes the Autarch in, though. She did either die or skyleap away at some point, so she is coming back in. but not until after Rosen has captured the point for himself here. And the Autarch is in a bad spot unless she can leap out. Actually, she must have... Well, actually, I'm not sure because I think that might be... Oh, wow! She actually just gets hit on the way up by the Assault Space Marines. And so just kind of tries to jump up and dies in midair while getting hit by a blade. We're seeing these tactical space marines going around using their 1.5 capping speed to go ahead and do some good. Some scouts came out in the meantime, maybe intending to go actually ahead and repair that dreadnought, but there was no chance of that. And meanwhile, though, these dual warp spiders are going to do their best, trying to force the apothecary away there, which is the only real thing that can keep this Farseer from capturing this point back in time. But these tactical space marines have done their job. These scouts also maybe quite possibly doing their job as well. Seer Council actually has just hit the field, so at just the perfect time for Rosen here, this game goes ahead and ends, which again was rather good for him, because had that gone on a little bit longer with a Seer Council out, and just kind of the way things were going, it wasn't necessarily looking up for Rosen, but he is able to pull it out there at the end, just getting those crucial decaptures off, and captures in his favor as well. And again, just using that tactical Space Marine squad for its 1.5x capping. Very nice job there, using the Assault Space Marines for their disruption. And of course, a little bit of full auto. What would the Apothecary be without that? So good game by both players. One thing, if I had to go ahead and give suggestions to the players, the biggest thing I would go ahead and suggest to Lindonin was that despite everything that happened in the game, he was really in this throughout. He just had so much requisition built up at one point and so much power, and the huge delays in investing that just had to hurt. It certainly could not have helped his case. I think really that he only could have been benefited by having spent that, found things to spend it on, even if it were more warp spiders, just something, anything. I don't really care, because the longer you let that build up, sure, gets you to T3 or whatever, it's tier 3 and stuff at some point, maybe bigger, better things, but in the meantime, you're missing something you could be having. So anyway, let's go ahead and move on to the next game, which we'll decide on the fly here. I think we only really have time for one more, as both of those pretty, I wouldn't say lengthy, but long enough games. So gonna take a look really quickly here at the final stats. Even commander kills, even commander losses. Commander level just a little bit higher for Rosen's Apothecary. Probably had something to do with the Apothecary being in more direct combat throughout, as opposed to the Apothecary. The Farseer, did a pretty good job of going around and ninja capping and just being a generally good harasser behind Rosen's lines. Definitely noteworthy that even if Lindonin had some macro problems spending his economy, even some economic problems at points, he did a pretty good job of denying Rosen's economy whenever possible. So definitely a bit of a shout out there. Going ahead and looking at units killed and units lost, actually a lot more even this time, compared to last game, which is a little interesting actually. 44 Space Marines killed. Again, probably had something to do with a little bit heavier scout usage in this game. Certainly, though, the constant attrition on both sides definitely would have worked against Rosen. And actually, as you can kind of see, that ends up equating out to a better unit score for Lindonin when you go ahead and add that up. So, resource side, again, ahead for Lindonin because the requisition collected was so much higher, and even power collected was quite a bit higher because he's able to continually get back there with the Banshees and just hack away on the generators of Rosen and really take out any serious advantage he'd had there. But again, the amount of power built here, this largely didn't really come till the end of the game, though, for Lindonin. He really got a much bigger advantage in the power category than he already did, had he been a little bit more on top of his game there. So, and points, we can just see that Rosen was kind of capturing and having stuff captured against him a lot more. So, And then, let's see, what else do we have here? We've got Tex versus a Lictor Alpha. And I think I'm going to be partial to some Pega here. I believe that Harlequin actually casted this match already on his series, Harlequin Casts. If you guys are not familiar with that, by the way, go ahead and look up Harlequin Casts on YouTube. Harlequin did a lot of Company of Heroes and actually has done quite a bit of StarCraft 2 casting as well. Recently he's moved over to doing Dawn of War 2 casting. So he's officially the senior commentator at GameReplays.org for Dawn of War 2. But also just a really good caster all around, does a show constantly. I think he's actually got some casts up at Tasker and stuff. And he will be on the main stream for the Game Replays Open Season Tournament event. Don't worry though, remember iCup TV will be having a stream as well for that, so I believe Lockgar and Relkin will be here for that. So you will be able to pick whatever you want for that. But anyway, definitely, again, feel free to check out Harlequin's Harlequin Cast. Guys, I have no issue with you going out and checking out things other than the Dawn of War 2 daily. It's actually really great that we have more than one thing out here, for Dawn of War 2, and that actually it's really growing. There's I mean, it used to be for a while there's only Dawn of War 2 live, and they're still doing good stuff, but there's quite a few new things, including our dailies and Harlequin and stuff. So anyway, with that said though, even though I think it may have been casted by Harlequin, I have not seen too many high-level Imperial Guard mirrors. So what we have here is Nate M. Okay versus Pega, and I kind of hope that Nate M is I'm still trying to figure out exactly how I'm going to say his name. I may just go with the in-game name on the board, but I should probably justify his proper name. So I guess I'm just going to go with Natum, okay, maybe? Or Natum, so probably not the completely proper way to say it, but if you hear that, the way it's actually spelled out is like N8M _ okay. So, alright, I'm not going to waste any more time on that. But that is his proper name, and then Pega is just Pega. I don't think I really need to spell that out for anyone. So, Natum and Pega. Natum, hopefully you guys know what I'm talking about, even though I'm probably butchering the name. So let's go ahead and boot up this, quote, civil war between Imperial Guard. And we're going to see on one side we're going to have a Lord Commissar and Pega, and on the other side we were going to have a Lord General in Natum. And we're going back to Greentooth Gorge for this. You saw we actually had an opportunity for Ice Station Obelisk. We may get to that in a future cast, so unfortunately I don't know how long Lockgar is going to be sick, so could have quite a few opportunities for that. So in the bottom here we have Natum, and in the top we've got Pega with his Lord Commissar, and the Lord General at the bottom, and Pega in the top of this Lord Commissar. So both starting up by getting another Guardsman squad. Interestingly here, Pega is going straight for the victory point perhaps, and the non-natural power. Or no, he's bypassing that altogether, and he's actually already gotten Sergeant on that squad too, by the way. So this squad is going to be intended, I believe, to be a rather strong early game squad here. Be able to stand up to another Guardsman squad immediately. And we're going to see actually they're going to go ahead and meet up with this Lord General. This Lord General is going to go ahead and try and force melee them. This is going to force them to go ahead and try and get in this guard tower. They are going to go ahead and successfully get in there without taking any losses. Now, Pega's going to have to bring his Lord Commissar over. We see he's not getting any power at all so far. He's just going off the base plus 10 income. So, whatever he's planning, it's going to be very requisition heavy, we can assume so far. And, ooh, very nice use of the retreat break execution ability there. Now, of course, they can't retreat again, so he's got to make sure this works out for him. But already he goes ahead and he kills off a Lord General retinue model, and he's going to go ahead and take refuge in a building now. This is, however, going to go ahead and let Pega go ahead and harass the power here. In the meantime, though, his other squad of guardsmen is being hit up by this sentinel, which is out here from I am bored and harassing. But actually, we've got 3 squads of guardsmen out for Pega, so relatively sizable amount of early game capping power. Maybe he felt that that was going to swing the tides and allow this kind of harass to go down here. It seems like his intent here definitely is to get this turret up, though. We are seeing the Lord Commissar kind of hopping back around here, maybe trying to defend that, or maybe not. He may just be giving up this power node at this point. We're seeing that Natum is going to go ahead and grab a heavy weapon squad already. So that will be coming out here quite quickly. At Chimerix, the reason why the Dow stream maybe, well, I'm not sure if what the SC2 stream or whatever else is like for you, but on the Dow side we are streaming at 720p, so maybe a little high for some internet connections. But we do feel that for Dawn of War 2 the quality is necessary. So meanwhile, we are seeing Pega's doing the best that he can with these 3 guardsman squads, but he is facing a little bit heftier of a force. The Sentinel is able to do a lot as far as map control goes. We are seeing Pega holding out all right up until this decap probably, and the decap down here. And again, with all this effort going into here, trying to deny this power node here with this multi-laser turret, just not so sure here. And actually we see the, I believe actually Pega just went ahead and flat out destroyed the turret, got half of his money back there, or half of his requisition I should say. But meanwhile, we are seeing the Lord Commissar going ahead doing some harass of these guardsmen here, but the heavy weapon squad will stop him from doing, again, too much on that front. So things looking a little grim maybe for Pega. He does have his heavy weapon squad out, which we can see both players value that very highly in this matchup. But Pega is missing a power node right now, and he's down only 2 requisition nodes. Now granted, these 2 are fully mature, but the Sentinel's moving in to put an end to that. And we are seeing Pega is only just now recapping. Not sure he's going to be able to force off the Sentinel in time, although maybe he will be. He's got 2 guardsman squads moving in. Is he actually moving this one so close just to tempt that Sentinel there with the stomp? Not quite sure on that. Perhaps not. Could have just been a function of the way that rock outcropping and stuff is. We're actually seeing the Sentinel looks like it will be able to get out successfully, which great just kind of experience there, I guess you want to say, by Natum. It's one of those things where a lot of Imperial Guard players will just immediately panic when they see that their Sentinel is under fire from range units. But there he saw that he was under fire from, despite 2 Sergeant Guardsman squads, despite being under fire from both of those, he recognized that he was in a position where he would be acceptably able to kind of absorb that fire for long enough to get the decapture off, and that was going to be pretty big for him. Meantime here, we're going to see some more Guardsman versus Guardsman fighting here. The Guard Tower is a little interesting. You can see it would have given good protection, but if these Guardsmen here were able to hit it from there, they had yellow cover, and despite the garrison cover is a lot better than that, only about 3 Guardsmen I think could fire at that point, so that would have been a little problematic as far as the damage output goes. They may be in a little bit better position here. They've got support coming from another heavy weapon squad. This is Pega's second, actually. So he is investing a lot more in Tier 1 than Natum is. And we see Natum is already going Tier 2. And this heavy weapon actually is going to set up right here and just fire into the back of this building. And ooh, we see that the Guardsmen instantly suppressed from that point-blank range. But luckily they are able to exit on the other side, so they don't take too much else from that. In the meantime, we do see that Pega has put down his full gem farm. He's got it up. He's got it kind of secured pretty nicely there. And that is, meantime, allowing him to kind of start building up his power and requisition stuff to look towards going to Tier 2. This Lord Commissar being a little bit of a pain in the building here, even though he doesn't have much range GPS. Although actually 17 range GPS isn't too bad. Tried to bum rush the heavy weapons squad there, and not quite able to do it. And so we are seeing a pretty good push here by Pega on the bottom right side. He is looking to take back map control during this point, and really he has to, because if he doesn't take back some map control, then his investment in these dual heavy weapon squads and just kind of what's happened up until this point, keeping him in tier 1 longer, is just going to be a drain on him. So we do see that Natum is going ahead and grabbing a Chimera. So once that gets out, that could be a little bit of an issue for Pega if he's not able to deal with it. But we go ahead and take a look at economy. Pega will be teching right about now. Okay, there we go. Pretty good timing. All right. So he's going to be able to get there, and we'll see how he responds. He won't be too far behind. Remember, like if he gets anything like a Chimera, and that does take a while. We do see Flamers going on these guardsmen, but the Lord Commissar there, or Commissar Lord I should say, making all due haste to get on top of these Flamers as quickly as he possibly can, which is the proper move because those Flamers are allowed to turn around and hit those gens. Those gens will roast and burn. This guardsman here actually bum rushing this heavy weapon squad, taking almost no damage because the guardsman melee is terrible. Now these Flamer guardsmen actually going to go down for Natum, maybe, yes, they do go down. And that is a notable loss there. He just upgraded them with Flamers. He didn't get to do any gen bashing at all, but the Chimera does hit, so he does manage to get that out, and we are seeing a little bit of odd kind of bashing away here by the Commissar Lord. I think his efforts would be a little bit better spent on the Sentinel. He decides that they are actually. Sentinel goes ahead, stomps, backs away. A little bit of stunnage here on the Commissar Lord, slowly running towards the Sentinel. It finally gets up towards the Sentinel, but by this point it's going to be able to kite it pretty easily, and actually facing some grenades here from the Lord General. Again, I'm kind of a little surprised maybe that we didn't see those earlier from him, but then again, just kind of the way the battle worked out, that the commanders had ended up being off on the one side, everything else on the other side. We see actually Pega getting to tier 2, being very well prepared, immediately converting one of his heavy weapon squad to, well, actually the only remaining heavy weapon squad? No. Oh, my bad. Looking on the wrong side, that would be why I'm thinking that it's the only one when it is not the only one. So anyway, not the only one here. Anyway, immediately converting that to a last cannon to go ahead and deal with this Chimera. And we actually do see the guardsman squad that was originally taken out by Pega has been replaced by Natum. And now, again, that is significant. I've talked about that before. When you are able to inflict a loss on your opponent, that they actually have to go ahead and rebuy a squad to replace the loss, that is simply one of the best things you can do in the game, because it means you are like purely ahead at that point. You just gain a pure advantage. There is nothing about that is bad. It's not like killing models is bad anyway, but it is one of those things where it's like it doesn't not help. Ooh, the 180-degree setup bug where the setup team does not turn around properly. And we see that is really going to hurt Pega here, because he specifically executed one of those models to go ahead and do supreme amounts of damage to that Chimera, but he's not going to get to be able to. Meanwhile, the Sentinel went ahead and put a stomp in, and it got a little bit forced off here by these massive guardsmen. But they're running ahead at the Sentinel. They're going to have to get in the building. The Commissar Lord is charging right up, though, to do what? Get knocked out of the way by odd pathing issues. We are going to see one guardsman squad retreating out. Probably should note that Pega got out a Chimera and got extra armor on it, too. Not a lot of Imperial Guard players' favorite choice. Extra armor, that is. A lot of players feel it's not cost efficient, particularly on the Chimera and the Lehman Russ. But here we see that Pega does not feel that way. He has gone ahead and gotten the upgrade, and it is allowing him to tank some shots from this heavy weapon squad upgraded with last cannon that he might not otherwise be able to tank. By the way, that is a new heavy weapon squad from Natum there to go ahead and actually deal with the Chimera that Pega got out. So again, not only was Pega able to actually go ahead and take out a guardsman squad, right, that had to be replaced by Natum, he also was able to force him, by way of his own purchases, to go ahead and get this last cannon heavy weapon squad, which previously was not necessary. But this This Chimera very low. Oh, an extra armor completes just in time to go ahead and save it. And now the Sentinel here is in a bit of an awkward position, kind of being in range of this heavy weapon squad, but using the cover here of this little terrain right there, as we can kind of see. This Chimera in range of this last cannon heavy weapon squad, but the last cannon heavy weapon squads are just deciding to duke it out now, which is a little odd. And the Chimera just running right up in the middle of all this. Extra armor or not. And there is no additional extra armor upgrading, so it looks like this Chimera will just go down. Not quite sure. Oh, no, but the last cannon squad is forced off, but nonetheless, the Chimera will go down. It was low enough on health anyway. And actually, Pega has lost a heavy weapon squad on the left side too, I believe, to the grenade launcher of the Lord General. Ooh, Pega's in a very bad spot here now, but he has a mana core coming out. We'll see if he's able to turn things around with that. Natum is very requisition limited right now. He has tons and tons of power though. And we are seeing that a good job here by Pega having capped these points while he was able to push there. So Pega making maximum, I should say, usage of the time in which he was a little bit dominant for a little bit there, using his dominance productively, I should say. So doing a good job there of using his map control well. He's going to have to look to get back to that and maybe hold on to it. We are seeing that Natum is going tier 3. And Pega is certainly nowhere near being able to do that at the moment. He's just getting his mana core out here in tier 2, and he's quite low all around. Meanwhile, we are seeing a Commissar Guardsman squad here attacking the node up there. By the way, should probably... Oh, is this what I think it is? A mana core barrage from Pega hitting Pega's own troops. Oh, that is one for... that's something you don't want to see happening very much at all, ladies and gentlemen. Especially when you've got the nice big red indicators for yourself there. But we are seeing these guardsmen up here successfully bash the node, and they are actually decapturing and perhaps just capturing for Natum's own purposes, although I don't see what he can need so much power for in tier 3, but I guess more power is never a bad thing. So meanwhile, we are seeing a shift towards Plasma for Pega here, which is, again, a little interesting. Plasma does just a bit less to regular infantry, but a lot more to heavy infantry and super heavy infantry. Perhaps he's expecting Ogrins, but we have not seen any Ogrins thus far. I probably should check the DPS value, though, for, I should say, Guardsman specific Plasma versus regular weaponry, because they're even with the reduction in DPS per se, it may still be better. And certainly against this Sentinel, the Sentinel is heavy infantry, so it will be better against the Sentinel. So that is notable. And we are seeing Stubbornness also go down for this Commissar Lord here. By the way, I'm going to say that... oh, no, maybe not. Flare goes down here, which is a little interesting. Maybe trying to trick a Mana Core barrage on retreat. But nothing else there. Just a Flare. We actually did see the Mana Core move up really aggressively, so the Flare may have come in to try and cover an actual Mana Core barrage. That is not uncommon, by the way, that a player will put down a Flare, and then they will put down a Mana Core barrage right where the Flare is, basically. Because the Flare and the Mana Core barrage have somewhat similar indicator icons. They're very easy to tell apart, but you can see that the Flare coming in. So if you're just given the two, separately, you can tell them apart. But when you only have the one, you see, if you have the Flare and then you've got like that as well, you kind of sometimes can't distinguish that. Oh, okay, you can see there's a Flare, and then is there a Mana Core barrage with it? You sometimes don't always know. We saw that time there was no Flare, and there was just a straight up Mana Core barrage. Gunning for this setup team. Meantime, we are seeing Pega go with Stormtroopers here, sticking in tier 2. Natum is getting really high on resources. He could definitely be looking at a Baneblade. I would not put it past him this game at all. We are actually... Ooh, and here we go, a creeping Basilisk barrage here. is going to go ahead and come in, and that's going to force Pega to, number one, split up his forces, and number two, dodge, and just kind of get out of there. It did a couple nice things. It definitely could have done quite a bit of damage to whatever Pega had there, and number two, at a bare minimum, of course, like I said, it forces Pega to dodge and ultimately retreat one squad because of that, force him to split up. So we are seeing victory point-wise, this game is pretty even right now, even if we are well below 200. We are seeing that Natum is a little bit lower, but in not a bad spot. Ooh, these stormtroopers taking so much damage from these grenade launchers. I'm not even sure that Pega realizes it. Look at that, those two models. And this is not even the assault kit, this is the recon kit. They just stood there and ate that. Ooh. And we are seeing a Baneblade building from Natum, so we're going to have to see how Pega wants to go ahead countering this. We are going to see that in the meantime, Natum is just going to do his best to stay in the game here with victory points. You know, he honestly does not care about Pega bashing these generators at this point, and I don't think that Pega realizes this. If he knew how much power Natum had right now, he definitely would not be wasting his time bashing those generators the way that he is right now. Ooh, last cannon shot actually blocked by terrain, which is a little interesting. Don't see that too often. Those things tend to usually hit when they go off. We are seeing that the stormtroopers are able to force off the Lord General in tandem with the last cannon and the guardsman squad here. They're going to try and infiltrate sometime today, but they're going to get hits before they can. That shot was fired before they'd infiltrated. In the meantime, we are seeing that Pega is actually bunkering up over here and calling in some mines. But the Baneblade has just hit the field. And we are seeing, though, that the Manticore is still alive here for Pega, and he is aggressively targeting these setups, but he's going to have to shift to aggressively targeting the Baneblade very soon. Ooh, and we have the creeping barrage coming in. The stormtroopers were already getting out, though. But that is, again, just going to buy Natum some time. And, ooh, this Baneblade is actually sitting idle in the base for a little bit here. Especially such big units like this. There's kind of like two time costs to getting these things out. You have the first time cost, which is 75 seconds just to build it. If you're not quite sure what that means in Dawn of War 2 terms, it basically means that the amount of time it takes to build the Baneblade is equivalent to the amount of time it takes to go from Tier 1 to Tier 2, or Tier 2 to Tier 3. We're seeing a couple of Manticore barrages now, I believe, coming down at one time. No, just good targeting, or actually good uses of flare, perhaps. Got there a little late, sorry about that, guys. Now we are seeing that the Baneblade has revealed itself. These mines proving themselves invaluable here as they are slowing the Baneblade to a crawl, much slower even than it usually is, and that does allow Pega to get his guardsmen out. And so now the role of this Manticore here is going to have to be to aggressively target that Baneblade whenever possible. And in the meantime, we are seeing that the Commissar Lord is supporting the capturing efforts up here, because definitely I believe that Pega recognizes going back down to the bottom left is going to be quite tough at this point. With the Baneblade out, his best chances are going to be to hold his top point and to do his best at holding the middle, which is going to require dealing with the Baneblade somehow. We are seeing actually now a Lehman Russ coming out on top of the Baneblade. So Natum cancels it. Not quite sure why he canceled there. Apparently he wants to reinforce this heavy weapon squad. No, but he's not reinforcing it. He's making another guardsman squad. So that'll give him 3 guardsman squads to repair the Baneblade, I presume, would be the intent of this. And we are going to see these stormtroopers here try to go in and stealth decapture this point. And a Manticore barrage coming in from Pega. This is going straight down on the Sentinel and actually takes that out. I'm not sure if that was the original target, but that certainly ended up being the accidental target at a bare minimum. And that was successful. In the meantime, the Stormtroopers dodged a big blast from the Baneblade. And this Lord General trying to do some little fancy decapturing stuff up here, getting hit up by the neighborhood friendly guardsmen. And actually, we're going to see Guardsmen try to move down here, but they're quickly going to realize suppression team in building. Ooh, not where anyone wants to be. Suppression team in building, not good. Bad, bad, always bad. For, you know, certain teams and units and stuff anyway. Manticore, I believe, did it fire anything and miss here? Looks like there might be some stuff that tried to fire there. He's really going to have to get a lot more, you know, in the way of firepower down on the Baneblade in order to hit. Oh, actually, he's just going to go ahead and take the setup out there. There we go. So now he's actually going to be able to push the side again if he wants to. But not holding that middle is going to make it very tough for him. He's really going to have to split up his forces. Whereas we're going to see Natum kind of push with Vanguard elements either way. We're going to see that Pega is going to opt to go for another heavy weapon squad here. And that will allow him another last cannon squad to help deal with this Baneblade. These stormtroopers are being very aggressive here. I think they are just being total recon here, really following their name at this point, and maybe trying to get a little lock for the Manticore here, which is very nicely positioned, by the way. You want to get that Manticore as close as you can to the intended target, because the closer you get the Manticore to the target, the less time the missiles take to travel. And actually, we're going to see here he's just going to go for this heavy weapon squad, force it out of there so that he can go ahead and recapture that point whenever he wants to. Meanwhile, these Guardsman squads on the left side are doing their best to go ahead and recapture this. Pega's very low on victory points at this point in the game. He's at 60, and he does not have a victory point to his name. And the center one actually is being recaptured in favor of Natum, with a Lindonin and Rosen coming out. So Pega is working on the left side victory point, but he's dropping quite quickly here. He's got to get another victory point if he wants to stop that bleed and turn things around. Lindonin and Rosen, though, is going up to the left victory point here. There is no AV there. He's got nothing to stop this push. This is a medic bunker, I believe, so he is going to be able to reinforce from it, but not much. That won't do him much good with Guardsmen, which really can't do too much against this Lindonin and Rosen. But then again, though, it will allow them to kind of stand here and just throw resources at the problem of keeping these other Guardsmen away. And we do see that the Commissar Lord is coming in with his power fist to try and force off this Executioner Lindonin and Rosen. And meanwhile, we are seeing again that it seems like Pega is just going to go for the side victory points to try and hold these. He's at 28. Oh, we have creeping barrage coming in. Pega's got to dodge this, otherwise he could lose all 3 squads. In fact, we're going to see he's going to lose 1 squad, most likely. Yep, no. Oh, they barely survive, and because that's a reinforced medical bunker, they're able to reinforce and get right back at it. This Commissar Lord with his power fist is able to just go ahead and keep hitting on this Lindonin and Rosen. And we are seeing the last cannons are doing a little bit of a number on the Baneblade on top of being able to use the Manticore with that. The snare from the last cannons actually is going to be great in terms of preventing the Baneblade from getting away from Manticore barrages. And so overall, actually, things are looking much better now for Pega than they had been just a short time ago. And we are seeing this Baneblade is walking right up to Pega's Commissar Lord. And the Commissar Lord actually is going to be able to get in melee range of this, and that kind of is a bit of a blind spot for the Lindonin and Rosen. The issue with that, though, is that my bad, not the Lindonin and Rosen, but the Baneblade. Oh, wow! We actually see the target here was the Guardsman and not the Baneblade from the Manticore there. And we are seeing that this Commissar Lord is, I wouldn't quite say invulnerable, but stubbornness is certainly making that Commissar Lord quite powerful because of all the Guardsmen around him. And we are seeing that now this entire battle is shifting to this left side victory point, despite the very nice ninja cap there by Natum up top. Just so much firepower coming in here from Natum. But we're having dual last cannon teams setting up. And that Manticore is not moving forward, actually, which is kind of a little interesting here. It's sticking to its current position. It will probably, actually now it is moving forward, my bad, but it will probably look to defend this point if it possibly can. We actually have is that a flare? No, that could be a Manticore barrage coming down. One of them is a flare, one of them is an actual Manticore barrage. The actual Manticore barrage comes down, but the Baneblade is able to maneuver away from it. And the Commissar Lord, though, is still willing to win. The Baneblade forcing him back. And this is actually allowing the last cannon teams to set up in a very forward position now. that will prevent much in the way of vehicles from being able to come up here a little too easily. These guardsmen, though, actually retreating, not sure quite why. Pega very, very low on victory. Oh, but he's able to stop them with execute. He stops the retreat. That may be why he actually was using the retreat to get the guardsmen to the victory point faster. Excellent use of retreat here. We see mines coming in. That's going to slow this Baneblade. This Baneblade could go down. It could go down. It goes down. The Baneblade is dead. Pega has killed the Baneblade, but he only has 19 victory points. He still has to find a way to keep himself in this game, and one of his victory points is being recaptured here by Natum. If Pega is unable to capture another victory point, he will simply be bled down. He's going to have to just throw these guardsmen at the problem. And he's got the mana core coming in, though, so Natum's going to have to get this heavy weapon squad out of there. But we've got a creeping barrage coming in, and that squad is suppressed, and that will allow them to be hit by the creeping barrage. And in the meantime, we have Natum able to force off the squad in the middle. He's looking to recapture this as quickly as he can. There is a single sergeant in this entire guardsman squad left. Will he just rush himself at the problem? We actually have the Baneblade coming in here to run up, and my bad, not the Baneblade, the mana core to go up and use its little bolter in front to do the support. But Pega is just not going to be able to capture the victory points that he needs to stay in this game. So despite taking out the Baneblade, Pega will not be able to actually turn around and win the game there, as Natum is able to recover and push back out and take the victory. So good job to Natum for being able to hold on despite losing the super unit there. Great game by both players. And that will be the last match of the day, the last replay that we show anyway, I should say. So thank you everyone for coming out today and watching the cast, despite missing Lockgar here, being just a little sick. Hopefully he'll be better by tomorrow. If not, I am trying to line up a guest caster, so let's see if I can work on that. But anyway, if not, I'll just go ahead and do more of what I was doing today. Just kind of different replays and so on and so forth. We'll also see if we can get the round robin finished up, possibly. Again, I make no promises. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And yeah, so actually tomorrow will be the last regular date this week. And usually we do Friday Fun Day, but this Friday is really special. It is the start of the Game Replays Open Season Tournament Series. So iCup will begin, or IC Cup TV, I believe will begin casting that at about 4 p.m. Eastern, which translates to, I believe, 9 p.m. CET, which, let's see if we go ahead and convert that really quickly, would be 2100 hours, so CET. Or no, that would be if it was 5, my bad. 20 hours CET, and it would be... No, I had it right. Okay, 21. Okay. Sorry about that, case. Of course, daylight savings time, little inconsistencies between continents are throwing things off during this weekend, so it's kind of getting reset on Sunday, so that'll be nice when that finally goes back to how everything usually is, where CET is usually 6 hours more than EST instead of currently it's 5. But anyway, like I said, on Friday, that is what the cast will basically be. Not just be about, like literally, it will just be a stream for that cast. Again, it'll be starting a little earlier, probably. At a bare minimum, it'll be starting the regular time, but it should be starting a little earlier, actually, like I said, which should be 4 p.m. Because the way that the Game Replays Open Season is handling Friday is because it's a weekday. They want to offer like flexible scheduling and stuff for the players to allow the maximum amount of players possible to participate. So even if they have work or school or stuff, some of them can participate a little bit earlier. Some of them can have games a little bit later and stuff. So also, by the way, if you're thinking about entering the tournament and you were just having issues with like Friday scheduling and stuff, definitely reconsider, because you can request to play at a different time on Friday if you want. Only Friday, but definitely Friday you can ask for a different time within I believe it's like a 5-hour window or something. So you have a pretty sizable amount of time. Most of it is geared upwards because it's already kind of scheduled already kind of late for Europe and such. But like the west coast of the U.S., for example, it would be the start time would have been like 2 p.m., which is right smack in the middle of classes, work, all sorts of things for that. So anyway, definitely, nonetheless, if come out, watch that, watch iCup's coverage, watch the game replay streams coverage, watch, I believe, Learn to Play will also be having a stream, Learn to Play Dawn of War 2. So either some of your newer friends or maybe some of you may get more benefit out of that. And there will also be a Russian stream. So again, all the information for all that is on gamereplays.org/Dawn of War 2. It's going to be big tournament. Already we're seeing big turnout. We're seeing, I believe, somewhere around 90 people registered already. So there's at least that many replies in the topic for that. So again, quite a lot of people registered up. Quite a big tournament. Up to $300 in cash prizes throughout the tournament series is going out. So yeah, big tournament coming up. iCup will be a part of that. That's what will be happening on. Well, we're not even going to be calling it a daily, but that's going to be what's taking place at the daily then. And don't forget that, of course, Saturday and Sunday, the event will be continuing, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, both days. Now the CET time for that will differ because you've got the daylight savings time going on at 1 a.m. on Sundays. So make sure you remember that it'll actually be on 2 different times, even though it's the same time for EST. Anyway, though, thank you everyone for watching. This has been Dawn of War 2 Daily number 10. Really quick again, just want to apologize for yesterday. Unfortunately, it just was not possible to communicate with Lockgar and let everyone know the issues that were being had over here. So connections are kind of required for that, and they did not exist at that point in time. Which was the issue. So unfortunately with the daily show, every now and then something's going to go wrong. Something went wrong yesterday, and then Lockgar got sick today. So, but anyway. So again, guys, thank you for coming out and watching this. This is 5-Star General, and I will see you guys tomorrow.